Hey guys, welcome to On My Shelf. Today I'm talking about a great audiobook series and also some of my tips for getting better at listening to audiobooks. If you haven't read the Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin, this is a series you definitely shouldn't miss. Well written, beautiful world building, fantastic characters. It's all around an epic read. But what some don't know is that the audiobook version of the series is incredibly entertaining. The series is read by Roy Dorice, who is a master at creating a distinction between all the different characters. Game of Thrones has a very large character list, but when you're listening to Dorice read, you're never confused about who's speaking. Part of that is the skill of Martin's writing, but part of it is also the skill of Dorice's reading. If you're still not convinced that you would do all that well listening to audiobooks, I have a few listening tips for you. My first tip is to pause when you need to pause. The thing that I love about audiobooks is that we can't see where in the chapter we are. For those of us who are bothered by stopping reading in the middle of a chapter, this can be an advantageous thing. We just have to push pause, and we have no idea where we are in the story. This might also bother some, and for those it does bother, I recommend getting the hard copy of the book and, after every listening session, move your bookmark so you can actually see your progress. I do this too with certain books, especially the long ones. I want to see that I'm actually getting somewhere. Audiobooks are also great for those times when we only have about 5 minutes to read, and by the time we pull an actual book out, we don't really have the energy to read a couple of pages because it doesn't feel like much progress. But my audiobooks are on my phone. All I have to do is pull up the app and press play. Easy, convenient. My second tip is when you find your concentration drifting, pull it back to the moment or press pause again. It's not easy to stay focused on something for a long amount of time, and audiobooks provide great practice for us. Maybe we set a timer for 10 minutes and listen to a story. When the timer goes off, we've focused fully on the moment for 10 minutes. Next time, we set our timer for 20 minutes, and we continue to increase our concentration ability. My third tip is pick a good reader. There are some audiobooks out there that can't hold my concentration no matter how hard I try to allow them in. What you like is probably different than what I like, but there are a few readers who sound like Valley Girls, and I can't stand that voice. And I know if I read the book that way, it would affect my opinion of the book forevermore. So I put aside the audio and pick up the actual book. Audiobook readers are not all created equal. So if you find one you don't like, don't try to muscle through it. Put it aside. There are plenty more to choose from. I hope you've enjoyed these tips on listening to audiobooks. If you have any audiobooks you've loved or readers you enjoy listening to, be sure to leave them in the comments so I can check them out. Visit racheltolson.com for some of my best audiobook recommendations. For more On My Shelf, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.